So where exactly is Santa Rosa Beach? The so-called town of Santa Rosa Beach, Florida, can be a little tough to pinpoint, even for locals who have called this place home for years. But if you've ever been on scenic Highway 30A in Walton County, Florida, well, you've already been to Santa Rosa Beach, whether you knew it or not. In fact, Santa Rosa Beach encompasses many of the coastal communities you already know and love so well. Seaside, Graydon Beach, Dune Island, Watercolor. If you've ever been to any of these wonderful places, you can go ahead and scratch Santa Rosa Beach off your bucket list too. Okay, we all know about Seagrove, we all know about Blue Mountain Beach, but again, where? Exactly, where is downtown Santa Rosa Beach? Well, there isn't one. Not anymore, at least. Pinched between Sandestin Resort to the west, Panama City Beach to the east, the beautiful Choctawhatchee Bay to the north, and the Gulf of Mexico to the south, Santa Rosa Beach is technically defined by the perimeter of the postal zip code 32459. Before the first 331 drawbridge came along in 1940, this island wannabe was a pretty difficult place to reach, with ferries, paddle boats, and steamers bringing the first settlers here around 1910. That's when a man from Chicago named Charles Cessna came here on his honeymoon. Shortly after presumably falling in love with his new bride, Cessna also fell in love with this place. And Charles had a vision. He wanted to start a new town where the primary industry was sugarcane. He tempted immigrant workers here with ads in the Chicago Tribune promising the American dream with a tropical twist. He attracted Swedes, Irishmen, Germans, Scots, and so-called crackers, a term that was given to the turpentine and timber workers who were already here.
In all honesty, that Charles Cessna almost was a flim-flam. He was telling these immigrants getting off the boats in New York, Boston, everything. Come to Florida, I have this thing. You'll get one house lot and you'll get 10 acres of land, 20 acres of land for every house block you buy. And that's why it goes all the way to Sandestin. And they bought into it, you know. It was an American dream, you know.
But the first settlers certainly didn't migrate here for our famous Florida sunshine. They didn't even come to the beach. They came to Hogtown Bayou. Most of them came here to harvest sugarcane, and a few of them came to escape justice.
It became sort of like the Wild West syndrome because Pensacola was settled. And if somebody got in trouble, they headed this way to hide. The sheriff from Defuniak would have to come all the way down here, and it was on a mule at the time, or in a wagon, and that's a good 4-hour trip from down there. And he'd have to stay in the hotel, and by the time he went out to try to find this guy that was wanted, he was long gone.
The tiny town of Santa Rosa was home to nearly 1,200 residents, complete with stores, 2 hotels, churches, a post office, a school, an ice house, a lumber mill, 2 turpentine stills, and a sugarcane syrup factory. Pretty much everything you needed to establish an idyllic tropical paradise. But life here was hardly a day on the beach.
The hardship at this period was not so much the climate, because they weren't used to air conditioning, much less had very little electricity. The hardship was the bug problem from what I've read, and they would have to use muslin over the windows at night, which enclosed the heat more. So they had to sleep in muslin, and the crackers were so tough they could sleep anywhere outside. They were just a breed amongst themselves, but the immigrants were not used to this type of climate when they came here.
In 1915, the little town was obliterated by a hurricane which ripped apart her buildings, farms, and families. There were no weather alerts, no push notifications, no projected paths or cones, no warning whatsoever. Throw in a bout of yellow fever, a little citrus canker to destroy the local orange trees, and another devastating hurricane in 1926, and, well, anyone who was left by that point pretty much threw in the old beach towel. The thick-skinned pioneers who had called this place home really didn't have any other choice but to move elsewhere, effectively rendering Santa Rosa Beach a ghost town. And yet, a few resilient residents remained. They weren't able to salvage the town, but they did dig through the wreckage for scrap lumber, some of which still supports the old bridge across Hogtown Bayou today. Today, Santa Rosa Beach is no longer fueled by sugarcane or cattle or oystering or even fishing. We mostly do that stuff for fun now. Instead, Santa Rosa Beach's booming economy is fueled by tourism and highly sought-after slivers of real estate. Precious land that you could hardly give away just a few years ago. At one time, living here was an incredible hardship. It was a daily struggle simply to survive. For so many, it was a death sentence. I wonder what those ghosts of our pioneering past would think about life here in Santa Rosa Beach today. Here's hoping they're finally having their day on the beach.